Welcome back, beautiful people. Let's go to Mali, the south central part of Mali, the Segou region, to be precise. In a locality called Ondokala, the Malian armed forces and the allied Russian African Corps got human intelligence lead on a transit corridor that is being used by the Al-Qaeda affiliate of the Jamaatu Nusrat wa Muslimin operatives to transport fuel to the operatives of this sect around the Segou region. According to information, a plan was put in place to stop this convoy. And according to the latest report we have, these personnel of the JNIM today got intercepted by the Malian armed forces and the Russian African Corps. This is a very beautiful operation because after the attack by the Malian armed forces and the Russian African Corps, a response team was sent in to arrest the personnel of the Jamaatu Nusrat wa Muslimin that you all can see on the screen running away from the vehicle. Immediately they spotted the fiber optic drone. Now, there is a reason why the Russian African Corps and the Malian armed forces deployed the fiber optic drone, because they discovered that sometimes these elements deploy electronic warfare devices. So using an FPV drone sometimes might prove abortive. All right. So the billion-dollar question is, who is supplying those people with the electronic device? Because we definitely know that they don't have the technological capability to build an electronic warfare device. And after the operation, operatives of the Malian armed forces moved in to arrest the personnel of the JNIM on the ground. And further pressure on them would surely give the Malian armed forces general command a very good intelligence on the operations of this element around the Segou sector and also some of their command control centers, maybe their training point too. And maybe they can even give the Malian armed forces command general staff some good intelligence about some of the civilians that possibly occupy high position, either religious leaders whatsoever, that might also be complicit in these activities of the JNIM. That said, we have another operation that happened in the Mopti region where the Russian African Corps and the Malian armed forces were on patrol, and while they were on patrol, there was a JNIM logistic vehicle that was about 2 pickup truck. They spotted the Malian armed forces and the Russian African Corps first. So they decided to go with the bad decision, which was to initiate contact. According to information, the marksmanship wasn't pure class. So it was more of an alert to the Malian armed forces and the Russian African Corps. Like, you know what? We are here. And immediately there was a return fire from the personnel of the Malian armed forces, because when they chose to initiate contact, they had contact with the vehicle of the Malian armed forces, and by the time the Malian armed forces returned fire, according to information, 2 of the elements were knocked out immediately. One of them surrendered, couldn't even, but the second one was seriously suppressed. I'm going to cut some part of the image so that you can just see some other part, because the cephalic region is not really what you might like to see right now. But that's it. According to information, more of these enemies, they fled with various degrees of injuries after they were suppressed by the superior firepower of the Malian armed forces and the allied Russia African Corps. That said, The last information of today was an operation that was conducted by the Malian Armed Forces and the Russian African Corps QRF team with the medical unit. According to information, a Malian Armed Forces personnel of the farmer was on a mission on his motorcycle, according to reports, to be very specific, and he ran into a remote control IED. So possibly the personnel of any of the sects that planted the IED must have been staying probably about 10 meters to 100 meters to 300 meters, depending on the type of remote control IED that they're using. But in some occasion they might not even be using a remote control IED. They might be using the Starlink satellite, and if they are using the Starlink satellites, that it has a virtually unlimited range, and that could be very risky. But the standout thing about this operation was the quick response of the Malian Armed Forces and the Russian African Corps medical team with some operators on the ground. According to information, they were very quick to get to that point where the impact happened, and they were able to rescue the personnel of the farmer. According to information, they said treatment was administered immediately and is very safe right now. And according to further report, they said the injury was not even something that was going to get him out of service. So I really appreciate God on the life of that brother that is fighting very hard to defend the sovereignty of Mali and the people of Mali at the same time. So that said, ladies and gentlemen, this is part of the effort of the Malian Armed Forces to bring peace and tranquility back to the Malian territory. You can kindly give us your opinion on what you think about the development of the event on the line of contact in Mali, and what do you think about the modernization of the Malians doctrine when it comes to their military and how they move. And the Russian African Corps, ladies and gentlemen, say no more. they are cream of the crop when it comes to their military prowess all over the world. The proof is out there in the pudding. So ladies and gentlemen, we'll kindly be looking at your opinion in the comments. It's your boy 7200 signing out in a 7 go. You can see the personnel of the JNIM that was arrested right there. I don't know why he did this, but you know, according to information, when they surrender like that, you know, they become prisoners of war. But these are people that have no respect for international law. So do you think when it comes to the POW principles of international law, do you think it applies to elements like this? And later on, you see, some people will argue that you know, they are what do they call it? They say they are rehabilitated. No, this guy got surrendered. If you look at his jacket right there, you can see the hammers and everything. This guy was geared up for combat, but unfortunately for him, you know, luck ran out today, and now he's being caught. You know, the second even tried to do some things, but it was seriously suppressed. So when you look at the situation, you know, the people calling, like the Human Rights Watch, that continues to call for rehabilitation of these individuals with the Malian taxpayers' money, I don't really see any fairness in that. And for me, when you look at everything that happened today, I really give it a lot of credit to the Malian Armed Forces. They've done a phenomenal job. But I just think that at this point in time, Mali has proved to the rest of Africa that continue to depend on foreign allies to defend their territory, that Africa can equally defend their own territory. We know they want to make it costly, they want to make it dangerous, but Mali has just proved, Burkina Faso have proved, the Nigerians have proved that if they can do it, we can do it too.
What is this war really about? Let's set aside what has stirred up the media screen, as I said. Let's look at things concretely. What is at stake here? First of all, because we also need to agree on this issue that isn't being discussed. What is the issue? What is at stake? Is it the terrorist bandits there? No, the real issue is the space, which starts from where? Which starts from Algeria's gas fields, the gas that France uses for heating, and which crosses over and goes to the other side. What's at the other end? Actually, it's Niger, and it's the Areva mines. The Areva uranium mines, which France buys at a very good price. 2 out of 3 light bulbs in France are lit thanks to uranium from Niger. This area is now the object of much desire. That is undeniable. Today, China is all powerful, it's arriving. Turkey is in Libya. The Russians are in Libya. Iran is showing an increasing interest in the Areva mines, specifically in the uranium mines. 3 times the Iranian president has gone to Niger for negotiations. They want uranium mining operations. So France is worried because this area has always been controlled by France, and above all, the resources in these subsoils aren't even being exploited, but are kept in reserve. They're kept in reserve. If they say there's no funding for exploitation, no, it's not being exploited. But they just say they don't want to exploit them. But they also want to prevent you Africans from exploiting them. Because otherwise, if they let you, the Russians will come and offer you something and you'll say yes. The Turks will make you an offer, the Chinese too. But if you take everything out, what do we have left? So no one touches this area. It's an area we keep in reserve. To be able to justify our movements, we have to justify that Mali accepts a military base on its soil. They didn't have one. So we need to escalate, frame, and present this matter as dangerous. Idriss Déby. When France launched its operation to save Bamako, they occupied a territory, the north of Mali. But this territory is vast, it's huge. And it needs men who know these desert areas a bit, who can move around in them. They made deals with the Tuaregs. Their target is the jihadists, Ansar al-Din, who have a different vision of the world than theirs. And so they have to be eliminated. But the Tuaregs say, no, we can make deals, we'll let you, we'll play along. But there's no way we're going to fire a bullet at these people. They're all mixed together, they have connections. So the Tuaregs say, no, we're not going to fight against Ansar al-Din. But then someone else has to be found. Either we get our hands dirty ourselves, but the French will take casualties. And the French people won't accept that. And so the approval ratings of our French politicians will drop. So what do? We need help. We need people who know the terrain. So we call on Idriss Déby. It's not Mali that calls Idriss Déby, it's France. That's very important.
Maybe he has the experience.
Yes, no, but okay. He handles the fighting himself. I agree. There's no problem. So Idriss Déby arrives. He leaves Chad. The Chadian army leaves Chad. Through the desert, they arrive. They arrive in the Kidal area and settle in. They don't deal with the Malian authorities, they deal with the French military command. And so people settle in. But what do we see right away? What is it? Today in Mali, people are crying. What are they saying? They say it's a partition, a breakup of our country. People have blocked northern Mali. For several years, even the Malian prime minister couldn't go to Mali. No one could go. People blocked it off. Chad also helped to block it. So what is Idriss Déby doing there? Idriss Déby is helping to implement a policy of partitioning Mali. It's regrettable, but that's how it is. That's what he's doing. Idriss Déby. He is supporting a policy aimed at organizing the partition of Mali. Is that Pan-Africanism? No, that's betraying the Malians.